Welcome to episode 1 of my new Nuzlocke series in Pokemon Fire Red. This will be a hardcore Nuzlocke. We'll have level caps and Pokemon on set mode, etc, etc. I do have Shiny Claws and I do have Dupe's Claws because I think it makes the game a little bit more interesting. But anyway, after naming myself, I get to name a rival, and you know, I play around just a little bit, with Farts XD, but even Diddy for a minute. But then I remembered that the true enemy in all Nuzlocks is RNG. So I name him RNG. I grab the potion out of the PC because I'm a professional. And I head on downstairs. I change my settings, put the text on fast, set, and then change the bar to green, the outline of the text green because it's my favorite color. And I pick Bulbasaur. I pick Bulbasaur because he's my favorite and also he's objectively the best. And I name him Sub to Me like all YouTubers do. So anyway, after I barely win the first rival fight, I then realized that I forgot to turn help mode off, so I had to fix that. But anyway, I go get the parcel and I bring it back to Oak, which prompts him to give me the Pokedex and the Pokeballs, officially starting the Nuzlocke. And so I go up to Route 1 for my first encounter, and it ends up being a Pidgey, which it doesn't really matter because there's only 2 encounters, and I'm going to be required, or basically guaranteed to get both of them anyway. But this Pidgey, I do end up catching it, and I name it the only acceptable thing you can name a Pidgey. If you know, you know. Twitch plays Pokemon. I go up to Route 2, and I catch the Rattata, again, the other one, and at this moment I just realized all of my Pokemon are girls. I got the female starter, which is pretty rare, so maybe that's good luck. Anyway, I go out to Route 22 and catch a Mankey. It's also female, and I name it Andy Bernard. All you other Office fans out there know what I mean when I say Andy Bernard. So anyway, after I catch the Mankey, I head on up to Viridian Forest, where I encounter another female Pokemon, Caterpie. Again, now at this point, it's kind of starting to get a little bit odd, but anyway, I do end up catching this Caterpie. I almost kill it. I name it Milk, as some of y'all get that reference, some of you won't. I think it's probably fair to say at this point, I will be using rare candy cheats. However, I don't think anybody will be mad about that, considering I do have level caps, and basically every Pokemon Nuzlocker these days uses rare candy cheats. Alpharad, Smallant, Ludwig, Peachow, basically anyone does, so I don't think anybody will have any problem with that. But yeah, subscribe if you want to see me fight Brock. That'll be in the next part. Okay, episode 4 of my Pokemon Fire Red Hardcore Nuzlocke. In this episode we're fighting Brock. He obviously leads with Geodude, and I obviously lead with Bulbasaur. I used Vine Whip. I out-leveled him by 2. Figured I could one-shot. I do. He switches into Onix, and he does use Bind, which does hurt me a little bit, but I just use Vine Whip again and one-shot the Onix as well, winning me the badge. Not very hard. Anyway, I go on out to the next route, and I encounter a Spearow. Probably not the best encounter, but it is better than Pidgey, which, as you can see, I'm using. I ended up having to finagle a little bit, switch into Butterfree to poison him and heal him, but I do end up catching it. I end up naming him, what did I name him? Oh yeah, I named him Jack. Some of y'all will get that reference. Anyway, then I go on to the Pokemon Center, and I do buy the Magikarp. And you may be thinking I'm crazy, but trust, folks. Just trust. I know what I'm doing. I ended up naming him Top G, because it just feels like a Pokemon that Andrew Tate would like, Gyarados, anyway. So anyway, I get into Mount Moon, and I get my encounter to Zubat, which, it's not that great. It would be better if I could evolve it into Crobat before the post-game, but for some reason they decided not to. I do end up catching it, and I name it Batman because, well, I name all of my Zubat Batman because I like Batman. Anyway, I get further down, and I think about taking the Helix Fossil because I already have Bird Jesus, just like Twitch plays Pokemon. But I ended up taking the Dome Fossil because it's a lot better. I knew that if I didn't tell you which ones I took, you would all ask. But actually, now I think about it, ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. My dry bread reference there. Anyway, I get out of Mount Mood and I go to Route 4 and I encounter an Ekans. And I do end up catching it. I had to finagle a little bit. It was being really annoying, but I switched into Magikarp and used Tackle a couple times because I knew it wouldn't do a lot of damage. And I tried to switch back to put it to sleep, but it was wrapped, so I couldn't. But anyway, I caught it and I named it Cody. I don't know why. Alright, now it's time for the rival fight at Nugget Bridge, and I was really scared for this fight, so I ended up leveling up my Pokemon just a little bit, but not too much, because I am using rare candies, and I don't want to abuse it. But anyway, my Pidgeotto ends up taking out his Pidgeotto, and he sends out the Rattata. It is in 2-shot range, and right here I get down to 16 health, and I should have just went ahead and healed, but I was like, whatever, I'll just go ahead and kill. And then he sends out the Charmander, and this is why I should have went ahead and healed. So you'll see here in just a second, I try and use the potion, but then he uses Ember, and it does the same amount of damage that I healed. And that is just not ideal, obviously. So I'm like, you know what, forget it, YOLO, we have to get some hits in, and so I use Gust, and it doesn't even do half. But then that's not even the worst part. The worst part is he uses Ember, and it burns, and I get left on 2 HP, and I almost lose Bird Jesus. So I end up having to switch into Spearow, but it does a lot of damage. Part 2 next. So here I send in Jack, the Spearow, and of course it does over half the Ember. And I'm thinking I might can outspeed, but of course I don't, so Jack goes down for the first death of the Nuzlocke. At this point, I'm realizing that basically everything I have is either weak to him or a Magikarp, so all I have left is Primeape, and so I send in Primeape, or well, Mankey, not Primeape, and he uses Growl, which lowers my attack, which isn't great, but after he uses Karate Chop, it was going to be a two-hit kill anyway, but the Ember does over half, which means I have to kill with this Karate Chop, and I fortunately do. If I didn't kill with that Karate Chop, it would have been really, really bad. But anyway, after that, he sends out Abra as his last Pokemon, and Abra only knows Teleport, so I just basically, I win. And here I am putting Jack, the Spearow, in the dead box, and you served us well, Jack. Appreciate you. But also, that means that Cody the Ekans will be joining the team.